So the next thing that we are going to look at is just a few worded problems using the same concepts. So again, we're still going to be using sine, cos, and tan. We're just using questions that, instead of just giving you just angles on the sides, they give you a small bit of information that you actually have to read through and interpret as well. So here we have a vertical pole, and it's tied to the ground, which is the horizontal line, this line here, by 2 wires. So the first wire is going to be this line here, and the second is this line here. We're told that this one is 22 degrees. We're also told that this wire is tied at a 63-degree angle, and this wire is tied at a 47-degree angle to the ground. So that's the information we're given. The first thing we're looking for is the height of the pole. So I have my little diagram done already, and I'm going to use that to find the length of the pole. So to find the length of the pole, I'm going to be using this triangle here, the one on the right hand side of this diagram. So we know it's a right angle triangle. We know this angle is 47 degrees, and we know this side is 22. And we're looking for this side here. So I have the side I'm looking for labeled X, and I need to find what X is. So we're looking at the angle here, and we need to know if we're using sine, cos, or tan. Again, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, tan is opposite over adjacent. So we have 47. We can see X here is opposite. So X is opposite. But what about 22? So 22 is the side opposite the right angle, and it's the longest side. So if X is the opposite, 22 is the hypotenuse, because hypotenuse is always the longest side and it's always opposite the right angle. So if we have the opposite and we have the hypotenuse, we're using sine. So sine of 47 equals the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is 22. It's 47 over 22, X over 22. So then to get rid of dividing by 22, we do the opposite on the other side, we multiply. 22 sine of 47 equals X. Again, this is one for our calculators. So we do 22 sine of 47, and we get an answer of 16.08. The question says the nearest meter, so that the nearest meter is 16 meters. So then the next thing it asks us for in this question is the length of the shorter side. So if we see here, we know this is 22, and we're going to assume that this angle is the shorter side, because they're not going to ask us an angle that we've already found. So now we're looking at this triangle here. I'm just going to draw this triangle out again. So we know this is a right angle, we know this is 63 degrees, and we know this is X. And now we know that X is 16. 16.09 to be more specific, but we're just going to leave it at 16 because the last question says to nearest meter. So now this is 63, this is 16, and we're looking for the length of this wire here. And this is called, so we're going to call this one X. So in this question, we have 63 as our angle. We have the opposite. The opposite is 16, and X is actually the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So X is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is X. So if you have the opposite and the hypotenuse, then we're going to be using sine again. So sine of 63 equals 16 over X equals opposite over hypotenuse. So then I want to get X on its own. So the first thing to get rid of X here, I'm going to multiply by X on this side. So then I get X of sine of 63 equals 16. But I don't want X sine of 63, I want X on its own. So I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 63. Instead of multiplying by sine of 63 over here, I divide by sine of 63 over here. So X equals 16 over sine of 63. We can put that into our calculator. 16 over sine of 63, close brackets. That gives us an answer of 17.95 to the nearest meter, 18 meters. Okay, so that was the first two parts of the question done. We found the height of the pole, we found the complement to the shorter side. So next we're looking for is dB. We can see that that's this here. So we're going back up to our original diagram. We're now looking for this side here.